Amidst the busy streets of Gorillist, Major General Kodo walked with purpose, a figure of quiet strength amid the teeming life of the nation's capital. The city, with its towering buildings and bustling marketplaces, pulsed with an energy that mirrored the vibrancy of Gorillist society. Here, in the heart of the nation, Kodo was entrusted with a responsibility that weighed heavily on his broad shoulders: command of the most elite division within the Gorillist army. This division was no ordinary military unit. It was a force forged from the best of the best, soldiers selected for their exceptional skills, unwavering dedication, and unbreakable loyalty to the ideals of their homeland. Under Kodo's leadership, these warriors were more than just defenders of the city. They were the protectors of the nation's sovereignty, the guardians of its leadership, and the stalwart defenders of the democratic institutions that had been painstakingly built and preserved over generations. Kodo's rise to this prestigious position had not been easy. He had earned it through years of relentless training, unyielding perseverance, and a steadfast commitment to the values that Gorillist held dear. Now, as Major General, he bore the weight of a responsibility that few could comprehend. His division was the first and last line of defense, tasked with protecting the president, the parliament, and the very heart of the nation in times of war or crisis. The soldiers under Kodo's command were handpicked from across the nation. Each had undergone a rigorous selection process designed to test not only their physical prowess, but also their mental resilience and moral integrity. These were men and women who had proven themselves time and again on the battlefield, in training, and in life. They were the elite, the best that Gorillist had to offer, and they were united under Kodo's command. The discipline of the elite. The barracks of Kodo's division were a model of discipline and efficiency. The day began before dawn, with the sharp sound of the reveille cutting through the morning air. The soldiers rose as one, each movement precise and practiced. There was no room for laziness or hesitation here. Every second was accounted for, every action purposeful. Training was relentless. From the first light of day until the sun dipped below the horizon, the soldiers honed their skills. Physical endurance was paramount. The soldiers pushed their bodies to the limit and beyond, knowing that in the heat of battle, their strength and stamina could mean the difference between life and death. Hand-to-hand combat was a core focus of their training. Kodo himself oversaw these sessions, his eyes sharp as he watched his soldiers spar. He knew that in the chaos of war, the ability to fight with nothing but one's bare hands could be crucial. The soldiers trained in various martial arts, mastering the techniques that would allow them to dominate in close-quarters combat. Marksmanship was another key element of their training. The soldiers spent hours on the shooting range, perfecting their aim with an array of weapons. Each shot was carefully analyzed, every miss corrected until the soldiers could hit a target with lethal accuracy from hundreds of meters away. But Kodo knew that physical prowess alone was not enough. His soldiers needed to be thinkers as well as fighters, capable of making quick decisions under pressure and understanding the broader strategic implications of their actions. To this end, Kodo instituted rigorous mental training, challenging his soldiers with complex tactical scenarios, requiring them to think on their feet and adapt to rapidly changing situations. The ideals of duty and honor. Kodo's leadership extended beyond the physical and mental training of his soldiers. He believed in instilling a deep sense of duty and honor within each member of his division. These were not just warriors, they were guardians of Gorillist's most sacred principles. Every action they took, every decision they made, reflected not only on themselves, but on the nation they served. Kodo often gathered his soldiers to speak of Gorillist's history, reminding them of the sacrifices made by those who had come before them. He spoke of the founding of the nation, the battles fought to secure its freedom, and the lives lost in the pursuit of justice and democracy. He emphasized that their role was not merely to protect the present, but to ensure the future for generations to come. War, Kodo would remind them, his voice steady and firm, is a last resort. It is a failure of diplomacy, a breakdown of dialogue. But when war comes, when all other avenues have been exhausted, it is our duty to fight. And we must fight with everything we have, not for glory, not for power, but for the survival of our nation and the ideals we hold dear. These words resonated deeply within the hearts of his soldiers. They understood that they were not just fighting for themselves, but for their families, their communities, and the future of Gorillist. This sense of duty, this commitment to something greater than themselves, was what set Kodo's division apart. It was what made them not just soldiers, but protectors of the nation. The watchful vigil. Gorillist was at peace, but peace was a fragile thing. Kodo knew this all too well. His division stood as the city's protectors, ever vigilant against the threats that loomed beyond the borders. They were prepared for any eventuality, ready to respond at a moment's notice to any crisis that might arise. Under Kodo's watchful eye, the soldiers of his division maintained a constant state of readiness. They patrolled the streets of Gorillist's capital, their presence a reassuring sight to the citizens who went about their daily lives. They guarded the key institutions of the nation, ensuring that the president and the parliament could carry out their duties without fear of attack or disruption. The division was also responsible for monitoring the borders, maintaining a network of intelligence that kept them informed of any potential threats. Kodo worked closely with the other branches of the military, coordinating efforts to ensure that Gorillist remained secure on all fronts. But Kodo's vigilance extended beyond the physical. He was acutely aware of the political currents that flowed through Gorillist, the alliances and rivalries that could shape the future of the nation. He kept a close eye on the developments within the government, understanding that the stability of the nation depended as much on internal harmony as it did on external defense. Kodo was not a politician, but he was a leader, and he knew that leadership required understanding the broader context in which decisions were made. He advised the president and the parliament on matters of security, offering his insights with the calm authority of someone who had seen the realities of war and peace alike. A legacy of strength. As the months passed, Kodo's leadership continued to shape his division into a force unparalleled in the history of Gorillist. The soldiers under his command became known not only for their skill in battle, but for their integrity, their honor, and their unwavering commitment to the nation. The people of Gorillist came to revere Kodo's division, seeing in them a symbol of the nation's strength and resilience. Parents spoke of them to their children, telling stories of their bravery and their dedication. The soldiers were heroes, not because they sought glory, but because they embodied the best of what Gorillist stood for. But Kodo remained humble, ever mindful of the responsibilities he bore. He knew that the true test of his division would come not in the accolades they received, but in their ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. And he was determined to ensure that when that day came, they would be ready. In quiet moments, when the city was at peace and the soldiers rested from their training, Kodo would walk among them, offering words of encouragement and advice. He knew each soldier by name, knew their strengths and weaknesses, and took a personal interest in their development. For Kodo, leadership was not about command, it was about service. He served his soldiers, just as they served the nation. And in doing so, he believed that they could achieve greatness, not just in battle, but in the legacy they left behind. The unyielding resolve. Gorillist's future was uncertain, as the world beyond its borders grew increasingly complex and unpredictable. But within the city, there was a sense of calm, a quiet confidence that came from knowing that the nation's protectors stood ready. Kodo's division was more than just an army, they were the embodiment of Gorillist's ideals, a force of strength and integrity that inspired confidence in the people they protected. And as the leader of that division, Kodo carried the hopes and dreams of an entire nation on his shoulders. But he carried them with pride, knowing that his soldiers were not just warriors, but guardians of a way of life that was worth defending at all costs. They were the Vanguard of Gorillist, the first to stand in defense of the nation, and the last to lay down their arms. And as long as Kodo led them, they would remain an indomitable force, united in their resolve to protect Gorillist from all who would threaten it. For in their hearts burned the flame of duty and honor, a flame that would never be extinguished, no matter the challenges they might face. Shadows of the past. Amidst the tranquility of a peaceful day, Gorillist President Natsu was drawn into reflections on his nation's past, leading him to the very orphanage where Major General Kodo, one of Gorillist's revered leaders, had spent his formative years. Eager to connect with his nation's roots and pay tribute to the man who had risen from modest beginnings to become a symbol of Gorillist strength and resilience, President Natsu set out for the orphanage, accompanied by a select group of his most trusted secret agents. As the sun cast a warm, golden light across the streets, President Natsu chose a motorcycle ride over the confines of a traditional armored vehicle, embracing the freedom and thrill of the open road. Surrounded by 10 skilled agents, their motorcycles glistening in the sunlight, President Natsu embarked on a journey meant to honor Major General Kodo's legacy and exemplify the enduring spirit of guerrillist resilience and determination. In the final moments before departure, a seasoned security consultant expressed concerns about the absence of an armored vehicle escort, highlighting the risks of such a high-profile visit. However, President Natsu, confident and resolute, dismissed these worries with a wave of his hand. He assured the consultant that the era was peaceful, with no visible threats justifying such extreme precautions. To Natsu, a simple visit unburdened by excessive protection and noise was far more appealing than the constraints of an armored convoy. Yet, despite President Natsu's unwavering confidence, a subtle unease hung in the air, a quiet tension felt by the cautious security consultant, whose instincts warned of unseen dangers lurking just beyond the horizon, threatening to disrupt the day's tranquility and shatter the illusion of peace. As President Natsu and his entourage set off, the streets of Gorillist City bore witness to an extraordinary spectacle. The presidential motorcade wove through bustling thoroughfares, flanked by rows of cheering citizens eager to glimpse their esteemed leader. The city thrummed with the energy of a nation celebrating its past and looking hopefully towards the future. But beneath the jubilant cheers and waving flags, a sense of foreboding lingered, a silent warning of the dangers that lay ahead. In the heart of the city, where shadows danced upon cobblestone streets and whispers of conspiracy echoed through alleyways, unseen forces lingered, their malevolent intentions masked by a veneer of normalcy. As President Natsu and his convoy approached the orphanage gates, the atmosphere grew taut with tension. Yet, even amidst the palpable unease, President Natsu remained resolute, his gaze unwavering as he prepared to face a challenge that would test his leadership and the very fabric of guerrillist society. For within the quiet corners of the orphanage, where the echoes of the past whispered their secrets, a storm was brewing. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, and fate was preparing to cast its shadow over the destiny of a nation. As President Natsu stepped through the gates and into the hallowed halls of the orphanage, he knew that the true test of his leadership was only just beginning. Perilous crossroads. President Natsu's visit to the Kodo orphanage was no ordinary trip. It was a symbolic journey into the very heart of guerrillist history, laden with danger and uncertainty. Situated at a perilous intersection of four roads, the orphanage stood as a beacon of hope amidst the surrounding turmoil. However, this seemingly benign location was fraught with hidden risks, lurking in the shadows of the crossroads. As President Natsu's motorcade neared the Kodo orphanage, the atmosphere crackled with tension, the weight of the moment evident in the collective consciousness of the nation. The orphanage's location at the crossroads presented a logistical challenge for the security team, tasked with safeguarding the president. Each road leading to the orphanage harbored its own dangers, from winding alleys brimming with secretive activity to busy thoroughfares on the verge of chaos. The area around the orphanage was a treacherous landscape, demanding sharp awareness, constant vigilance, and meticulous planning. Despite the risks posed by the complex layout of the crossroads, President Natsu appeared untroubled by the potential threats. Confident in his martial arts skills and robust health, he dismissed safety concerns with a casual wave. To him, extensive security measures seemed more of a hindrance than a help, obstructing the spontaneity and freedom of his visit. Yet, beneath this veneer of confidence, a sense of unease lingered. While President Natsu projected calm, his advisors and security personnel were keenly aware of the lurking dangers. With tensions escalating and the shadow of threat looming, the stage was set for a dramatic encounter at the crossroads of destiny. As the motorcade navigated the winding streets of Gorillist City, the nation held its breath, focused on the Kodo orphanage. Here, in this seemingly ordinary place, lay the key to unraveling Gorillist's past and shaping its future. With each moment, the anticipation grew, reaching a fever pitch as President Natsu's convoy approached its destination. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a flicker of hope remained, a belief that President Natsu would prevail, undaunted by the dangers that shadowed his path. When the motorcade finally arrived at the gates of the Kodo orphanage, a profound silence enveloped the crowd. With the weight of the nation's expectations on his shoulders, President Natsu prepared to face the challenges that awaited him at this crucial juncture in history. The roaring intruders. The serene atmosphere surrounding the Kodo orphanage was abruptly disrupted by the thunderous roar of motorcycles, their engines slicing through the still air like a blade. For the 10 vigilant secret agents assigned to protect the perimeter, this sudden noise was a dire warning, an ominous signal that danger was drawing near. Armed only with machetes and limited in their use of firearms, the agents stood ready at their posts, their senses finely tuned to detect any sign of trouble. Hands tightly gripping their weapons, they prepared for the unknown, their resolve steadfast despite the looming threat. As the deafening roar of the motorcycles reverberated through the streets, the tension in the air grew palpable, thickening with each passing moment. The approaching sound loomed like a storm on the horizon, foreshadowing a threat that was about to disturb the peace of the orphanage. With every passing second, the sense of anticipation intensified, the agents' hearts racing in sync with the relentless approach of the engines. Amidst the mounting uncertainty, a heightened sense of urgency took hold, setting the stage for an imminent clash between order and chaos. As the motorcycles neared, their thunderous noise bouncing off the walls of the orphanage, the agents braced for the inevitable confrontation. Adrenaline surged through their veins as they stood poised, ready to defend their post against any adversary daring to breach their defenses. Then, with a thunderous roar, the motorcycles rounded the corner, their headlights slicing through the daylight like harbingers of doom. The agents tensed, their muscles coiled and ready, prepared to unleash their full fury at a moment's notice. In the jaws of chaos, the dust-choked air clung heavily around the Kodo orphanage, its serene appearance abruptly disrupted by the ominous roar of motorcycles. A sense of dread gripped the 10 vigilant secret agents stationed at the perimeter, their heightened senses attuned to the approaching threat. Riding sleek motorcycles, the hyenas approached with deadly intent, their dark silhouettes cutting through the dust like harbingers of chaos. Well-armed and infamous for their deadly skills, these hyenas presented a formidable challenge to the security detail assigned to protect President Natsu and safeguard the orphanage. With their hands tightly gripping machetes and their senses razor-sharp, the agents braced for the inevitable confrontation, their hearts racing with anticipation. The air crackled with tension as the hyenas drew nearer, their menacing presence overshadowing the once peaceful grounds of the orphanage. The calm was shattered by the deafening burst of gunfire as the hyenas unleashed a torrent of bullets from their submachine guns. The agents sprang into action, their training kicking in as they moved to shield the president. Despite their best efforts, several agents fell, their bodies succumbing to the deadly onslaught. Undeterred by the chaos, the remaining agents fought with unwavering determination, their machetes flashing in the sunlight as they clashed with the hyenas in a desperate struggle. With each swing of their blades, they pushed back against the relentless aggression, resolute in their mission to protect their charge. Inside the orphanage, President Natsu heard the unmistakable sounds of gunfire, his heart sinking as he realized that the peace he had sought was now under threat. Steeling himself, he prepared to confront the danger, his mind racing as he sought a path to safety amidst the chaos. As the battle raged outside, President Natsu navigated the corridors of the orphanage, the echo of his footsteps against the cold stone floors a constant reminder of the gravity of the situation. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him like a heavy shroud. Emerging into the courtyard, President Natsu faced the grim reality of the conflict. The air was thick with the acrid scent of gunpowder, and the ground was slick with blood as agents and hyenas engaged in a deadly clash. In that moment, President Natsu knew the fate of Gorillist hung in the balance. Determined to protect his people and preserve the fragile peace, he raised his voice above the din of battle, rallying his loyal agents to resist the encroaching darkness. With renewed resolve, President Natsu led his defenders into the fray, driven by a singular desire to overcome the forces of chaos and destruction. In the heart of this bloody conflict lay the hope for a brighter future, where peace and prosperity might once again prevail. Blades of Defiance. Amidst the chaos of the firefight raging outside the Kodo orphanage, an agent burst into the makeshift command center, his brow furrowed with tension and sweat glistening on his forehead. His eyes darted with urgency as he relayed a harrowing report about the escalating situation beyond the orphanage's walls. "Mr. President, the situation is dire," the agent exclaimed, his voice urgent. "The hyenas are relentless. We need to find a secure refuge for you immediately." President Natsu's face tightened with concern as he absorbed the gravity of the agent's words. The safety of himself and the orphanage's inhabitants was precariously balanced, their lives endangered by the ruthless hyenas. Turning to the head of the orphanage for reassurance, President Natsu found little solace. The head's usually composed demeanor had cracked under the weight of desperation. "I'm sorry, Mr. President," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "There's no safe place to hide. We're at the mercy of the chaos outside." President Natsu's heart sank with the realization that there was no sanctuary within the orphanage. Trapped in the storm's eye, they were vulnerable to the whims of fate and the relentless violence of their attackers. Outside, the hyenas continued their brutal assault, undeterred by the valiant efforts of the secret agents. The air was filled with the deafening roar of gunfire, the relentless rhythm of bullets slicing through the chaos. In response, the agents wielded machetes forged from resilient Zeep steel with unparalleled skill. Their precision and determination turned the blades into a formidable defense, deflecting bullets with astounding accuracy. The true might of the guerrillas was evident as the secret agents swung their machetes with deadly precision. One agent cleaved through the air, his blade slicing through flesh and bone with ruthless efficiency. The head of a hyena fell to the ground, a grim testament to the guerrilla defender's lethal prowess. Another agent mirrored the action, his machete flashing in the sunlight as he struck with unerring accuracy. With a single swift motion, he severed the head of a second hyena, the lifeless body collapsing at his feet. The defenders showcased the indomitable strength and courage of the guerrillas, standing resolute against the barrage of bullets. Despite their valiant efforts, the battle's outcome remained perilously balanced, the conflict raging with unrelenting ferocity. Inside the orphanage, President Natsu and the head could only watch helplessly as their brave defenders fought desperately to hold the line. With each passing moment, the situation grew more dire, the sounds of gunfire echoing through the orphanage like a grim symphony of death. Amid the chaos, President Natsu knew the fate of guerrillas hung in the balance. He resolved to do whatever it took to protect his people and preserve the fragile peace they had fought so hard to maintain. As the battle raged on outside, President Natsu steeled himself for the challenges ahead, driven by a singular desire to overcome the forces of darkness threatening to engulf them all. Blades unyielding. In the heart of the turmoil that enveloped the Kodo orphanage, the clash between the presidential secret agents and the marauding pack of 25 hyenas reached a fever pitch, creating a grim tableau of struggle and conflict. The air crackled with the deafening roar of gunfire and the clash of steel as the two forces engaged in a deadly dance of survival. The disparity in weaponry was stark. On one side, the sleek, deadly precision of firearms; on the other, the close-quarter lethality of machetes forged from resilient Zeep steel. It was a battle that juxtaposed modern technology against ancient craftsmanship, the cold efficiency of guns against the primal fury of blades. Despite the overwhelming odds, the 10 presidential secret agents stood resolute, their determination unshaken by the ferocity of the assault. Disciplined and highly trained, they moved with practiced precision, each action calculated and deliberate. Their coordinated efforts created a deadly ballet of military precision, showcasing the unwavering dedication and skill of guerrillists' finest. Operating in seamless formation, the agents moved as one, their actions fluid and synchronized. Like a well-oiled machine, they complemented each other, every maneuver designed to strengthen their collective defense. There was no room for hesitation or doubt, only unwavering focus and resolve. As the hyenas pressed their relentless assault, the secret agents met the challenge with steely resolve, their machetes flashing in the dim light of the orphanage courtyard. With each swing of their blades, they carved a path through the chaos, cutting down their adversaries with ruthless efficiency. One vigilant defender scanned the battlefield with sharp eyes, his mind racing as he assessed the evolving situation. He understood that victory would not come easily, that every moment brought new threats and obstacles. But he was prepared to fight, to bleed, to sacrifice, if necessary, to protect his charge and preserve the fragile peace of Gorillist. Despite the ferocity of the hyena onslaught, the secret agents held their ground, their determination unyielding, their spirits unbroken. They fought not just for themselves, but for the future of their nation, for the safety and security of all who called Gorillist home. As the battle raged on, the courtyard became a symphony of chaos, a swirling maelstrom of violence and bloodshed. Yet amidst the madness, a profound sense of purpose and duty drove the secret agents to extraordinary acts of bravery and sacrifice. Fury unleashed. As the initial clash between the 10 presidential secret agents and the first wave of hyenas reached a fever pitch, a distant chorus of motorcycle roars heralded the arrival of a second, equally formidable group. Emerging from the swirling dust of the battlefield, another contingent of 25 hyenas materialized, their silhouettes looming like specters of doom. At the forefront of this menacing pack strode a figure whose very presence commanded fear and respect. This leader, a grizzled hyena of about 55 years, stood with an air of grim authority. His scarred face bore the marks of countless battles, a jagged wound running down the left side, a brutal reminder of his violent past. On the right side of his face, a tattoo of a young girl added an eerie contrast, an unsettling blend of brutality and a hint of lost tenderness. His cold, calculating eyes scanned the battlefield with a predatory gleam. There was an unmistakable aura of menace about him, a palpable sense that he was not merely another combatant, but a force of nature to be reckoned with. His presence cast a dark shadow over the conflict, signaling the onset of a more dangerous and ruthless phase in the battle. As the leader of the hyena pack, he embraced the role of harbinger of chaos, his every action marked by unrestrained cruelty and ruthless intent. He exuded a palpable sense of danger, relishing the chance to spread terror and destruction among his enemies. The atmosphere grew thick with anticipation as the seasoned hyena leader prepared to unleash a new wave of violence. The stakes had risen dramatically, and the president's secret agents now faced the daunting challenge of confronting not only an additional group of assailants, but a malevolent adversary with a fearsome reputation. For the secret agents, the arrival of this second wave marked a critical juncture in the battle. Their numbers had already dwindled under the ferocity of the initial assault, and now they confronted an even graver threat. Despite the mounting odds, their resolve remained unshaken. They stood ready, steeling themselves for the impending confrontation. As the hyenas closed in, their leader at the helm, the secret agents braced for the inevitable clash. Each agent understood that they would be tested to their limits, confronting their deepest fears and pushing beyond their capabilities to secure victory. Armed and resolute, the presidential secret agents prepared to face their adversaries head-on. The battlefield trembled with the anticipation of renewed conflict, the clash of steel and the roar of gunfire reverberating through the day, marking the beginning of a new, perilous chapter in the struggle for survival.